The rain had returned, not with thunder or drama, but in a slow, relentless drizzle that glazed the city in silver. Streetlights blurred behind street windows, and the leather interior of my car exhaled its familiar, worn scent. It was 10:30. My last fare had been a corporate type with too many words and too few tips. This one felt different the moment I saw him. He stood at the corner under a flickering lamp, clutching a weathered suitcase like it contained something fragile or dangerous. His coat was soaked, his eyes hollowed out by whatever he'd been running from. He didn't wave, just stepped in when I pulled up and gave an address halfway across the city. Silence settled between us, thick and uneasy. I've learned not to speak unless spoken to, but something about the man, it wasn't just fear. It was recognition, not of his face, but of a detail, a pendant chain, half visible beneath his collar. I'd seen one like it before, worn by a woman with secrets too heavy for her own shoulders. The passenger from a few weeks ago, the one who vanished into that estate at the edge of the city, the one who whispered her story like it might kill her to say it aloud. He caught me glancing in the rearview mirror. His fingers brushed the pendant, then tucked it out of sight. A quiet message, don't ask. I didn't, but I drove slower than usual, listening, watching, waiting. The suitcase sat on his lap, heavy with unspoken meaning. He held it like it might explode if jostled. Every red light seemed to fray his nerves further. By the time we passed the second set of train tracks, his hands had started to shake. Mind if I smoke? He asked suddenly, voice hoarse. I'd prefer you didn't, I said calmly. He nodded and laughed, one of those bitter laughs that sounds more like a cough. Didn't think so? We fell back into silence. But now the air inside the car had shifted. It felt more like a confession booth than a luxury sedan. They think I don't know, he said eventually, but I do. I've seen the files, the recordings, what they did to her, what they're planning. I didn't ask who they were, or who she was, but I knew better than to pretend I wasn't listening. I didn't sign up for this. I was just the tech guy, he continued, his eyes darting toward passing headlights. But once you see something like that, you can't unsee it. You can't pretend you're still one of them. He clutched the suitcase tighter. This has to get to someone who can expose it. I nodded slowly, eyes on the road. Then we'd better make sure you arrive in one piece. He looked at me, really looked, and something shifted in his posture. Not trust, not yet, but maybe the beginning of it. Who are you? He asked. You're not just a driver, are you? I'm whoever you need me to be, I replied. Tonight, that's someone who gets you where you're going. The address he gave led to an unmarked building tucked between warehouses, its windows dark, and its door locked from the outside. I stopped the car a block away. You don't want to be seen pulling up directly, I asked. He shook his head. If they're watching, they'll know anyway. But every second counts. He opened the door, paused, then turned back. If you see her again, tell her I tried, that I didn't stay silent. I nodded once. What's her name? But he was already gone, disappearing into the wet night with his suitcase and his secrets, the pendant chain still glinting faintly under the collar of his coat. I sat there a moment longer, engine idling, rain ticking against the windshield like a clock counting down to something I couldn't see. That pendant, it wasn't just similar, it was the same design. The woman from the mansion had worn it like armor. He'd worn it like guilt. Different passengers, different weights, but both carried something that could tip the world off its axis. As I pulled away, I glanced at the rearview mirror. Nothing but city behind me. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that the road was slowly tightening its grip, pulling me towards something bigger than a ride, bigger than me. But I've always said, the road chooses who you meet. I just drive the route, and somewhere ahead, another story is waiting to get in.